Hello, welcome, and welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met before, I'm Kat, and I'm a yoga teacher and yoga therapist, and today's practice is all about yoga for stress relief, helping you to switch off and ease anxiety. So if you've clicked on this video, it's likely that you're feeling highly stressed, maybe a little or a lot a bit anxious. Maybe you struggle to switch off. Okay, so in this practice, I'm going to explain what we're going to do so that you can help to understand the energetic flow of what we're going to do. A really good way of getting out of your mind is to bring your focus into your body. And we can do that through movement, through focusing on different parts of your body and really get your mind out of your head. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to start with bigger movements, and then we're going to start to make them smaller and smaller and smaller until we find a space where we can invite stillness. So we're guiding our body kind of from this highly stressed space, and we're guiding it down little by little, working with the body rather than trying to force the body into a state that it's not ready to be in yet. Now, I know we say switch off a lot, right? I need to switch off, or I struggle to switch off. But our body doesn't actually do that. We don't have a light switch that we can just on, off. Wouldn't it be nice if we do sometimes? So instead of a switch, what I like to describe to people is a dimmer switch. So instead of an off-on, we have like a dimmer switch, and we have to slowly turn the dial, turn the dial, turn the dial. And this calming down process takes time. So working with what we know about the body and working with the surroundings in the environment, we can use movement, breath, and stillness in a way that's curated to help you to come down from that highly stressed, highly anxious space that you're in. Okay? Now, just a reminder, I can't see you, okay? So see how you feel. You can always stop. If you're feeling particularly critical in your mind today, which can come part and parcel with anxiety and high stress, those really judgmental, quick thoughts, then I invite you to try to be as kind to yourself as you can today. If you feel like you can't do something, then you can always pause, it's fine. I'm going to give you a few options. We always keep things nice and gentle here anyway. So hopefully this will be fine for your body, how you're feeling today. And we're going to come towards stillness. So at the end, we'll come to a stillness, we'll come to a breathing practice, see how you get on. There's no expectation to feel calm at the end. We'll see and see how you feel. We can't force anything, so we try, we see how we feel. This might be the first time that you're doing something like this. This might be the first time that we're meeting each other. And just like when you first meet someone, it might be a little bit on edge. You're sussing this person out. So it's the same idea. So you might need to do this practice a few times. Go through repetition, get more familiar with the movements, with the practice, with me, with my voice, with how I teach. And when things become familiar, when they become comfortable, then there's an element of feeling safe, and that is where our calm space is. When we feel safe in our body, when we feel safe in our minds, then our body responds in that same way. I hope I explained that well enough. We're going to start standing, and you won't need anything for this practice today. I've got a bolster For the end, if you don't have a bolster, don't worry. You don't have to use one. If you have a couple of pillows, you might want to grab them now because that could be really nice. All right, let's start standing. Okay. We'll have a little shake into the shoulders. A little shake into the arms. We'll take a few sighs, softly breathing in through the nose. And out. And again, softly breathing in. Get the shoulders. Okay, and then start to sweep the arms up to the sky. And down. And again, sweeping the arms up. And down. Nice, and again, sweeping up. And down. One more for luck. I love a one for luck. And down. Nice, have a little wiggle into the shoulders. And then bring the feet a little wider. Arms are quite heavy. And then start to sway the arms a little around your body. Notice what the arms are doing. A little softness into the knees. You could keep the eyes open, maybe that feels, more comfortable. Or if you feel stable, you could start to close the eyes. And it's important to remember, we're not going to feel calm straight away. We're going through a little journey together. We're going to release a little bit of energy through movement, like what we're doing now. So see if you can allow those questions of, am I feeling calm? Am I feeling still? Till a little bit later. An invitation to trust the process. Maybe we pivot a little more, so lift the heel and pivot, and so we start to move the hips a bit more now. So like I said, we're starting with big movements, really focusing on moving your arms, moving your legs, as much or as little as you like. Remember, you're in your space. And we can have a play around with a few levels. So imagine you're sweeping the floor. Come up a little higher. And then go diagonally, so up and down, up and down. Nice, let's change sides. So up to the other diagonal, and then down towards the floor. And I don't know what it is about this movement, but this always reminds me of dance at school. Our dance teacher at school would think about using all the different levels. Maybe you can relate. I was never very good at dancing at school. Okay, let's make that movement a little smaller. A little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. And then come back to the center. Start to bring the feet a little closer. We're going to come into a standing flow. So start to bring the hands together in front of the heart center. We'll sweep the arms up. And then taking hold of the right wrist, reaching up through the right wrist and up and over to the left. Nice little side stretch. Lovely. Come back to the center, swap sides, reaching up and over to the right. Lovely. Come back to the center, part the arms, and then we'll come into a cactus arm. Invite a little space across the front of the chest. Sweeping the arms up to the sky, and then coming into a forward fold. So first forward fold, let the arms come down. We'll hinge at the hips, and then slowly soften down. See how that's feeling in the back. A little wiggle from side to side. As if you're drawing a semicircle around your legs, around your feet. And then coming back to the center. Start to bring the hands onto the shins or the thighs. Look forwards, halfway lift. Press through the feet. Sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Reach tall. And then bringing the hands together in front of the heart center. We'll do that again. Sweep the arms up to the sky. Taking hold of the right wrist. Reaching up. And then a little over to the left. You come back to the center, swap sides, reaching up and over to the right. Coming back to the center, part the arms, and then cactus arms. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up to the sky, and then slowly folding forwards, hinging at the hips, soften through the knees, easing your way down. Bring the hands onto the shins or the thighs, look forwards, flat back. Press through the feet, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Reach tall, hands together in front of the heart center. Okay, last time, sweep the arms up to the sky. Taking hold of the right wrist, reaching up and over to the left. Coming back to the center, swap sides, reaching up and over to the right. And then back to the center, part the arms, cactus arms. Sweeping the arms up to the sky and then folding forwards, hinging at the hips, soften into the knees. Inhaling, halfway lift, flat back. Take a pause, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. And then hands together in front of the heart center. Okay, let's move the weight over onto the left leg. We're going to come into a little balance. The amazing thing about balancing is when we're really focusing on balancing, there is no space for anything else. Our mind is completely focused on balancing. So it doesn't matter if we wobble, we're just going to have a little play. Coming up onto the tiptoes of the right foot. And then lift and lower. Nice, swap sides. Lift and lower. Doesn't have to be as high. Doesn't matter if we wobble a little bit or a lot of it. Let's just keep going. Ooh. Bringing the arms down. Maybe we can add a little extra complexity. So we're going to lift the left leg and the right arm. And then swap sides. Now remember, it can be a little bit like this. It can be smaller. Doesn't have to be as big. Stay playful. Stay curious. Okay, one more time each side. And then release, have a little wiggle. Okay, start to come to the front of the mat. Stand up nice and tall. And then start to slide the shoulders up to the ears. Give them a nice big squeeze. And then release. And again, sliding the shoulders up to the ears, big squeeze. And release. One more time. Nice. Sweep the arms up to the sky. And then folding forward, soften into the knees. Halfway lift, finding length. We're going to step back now. So sliding the hands down on towards the floor, and then left leg steps back. Big step. Lower down the knee. You might want to pad the knee. Feet about hip width distance, and then ease yourself up. Find your balance. Soften the shoulders down. And then we'll bring the hands together in front of the heart center. Start to rotate the body a little to the right. Maybe you can find a spot in your room to really drill down your focus, your drishti. Can you breathe in and out through the nose? Is that possible? Lovely. Come back to the center. We'll walk the right foot out to the edge and bring the hands down in the middle. If the floor feels a little far away, maybe you have a block or maybe you have a book. And we're going to ease into our lizard pose. Maybe we can tuck the toes and lift the knee. Little hop and down. 2 more, little hop and down. 1 more little hop and down. So we're going to move the hips forwards and back here. If you want this to be a little stronger, remember your choice, your practice. How are you feeling today? We can lift the knee and do a little rock forwards and back. Lovely. Drop the knee down. Step the right leg back to hands and knees position. Move the block to the side. Fingers spread nice and wide on the mat, and we're coming into downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, wiggle up and back. So coming high up onto the tiptoes, and we'll pedal through the legs. So reaching one heel down towards the ground, bending into the opposite knee, and then swapping sides. Doing that a couple of times. And we can soften into the knees and reach the hips up and back. A little wiggle into the hips might feel good. Lovely. Start to wave forwards to plank. Lower the knees. And we'll swap sides. So stepping which side are we on? Left leg forwards. Lovely. Easing yourself up. Clothing rejiggle. And then bringing the hands to the heart center. Take a breath. Maybe softening into your jaw. Give the bottom jaw a little wiggle. No one's looking. And then start to rotate the body a little to the left. Pressing into the front foot and the back foot. Really feeling the the strength of the legs, the floor beneath. And then coming back to the center. Let's bring the foot a little wider, the left foot, and the hands come on the inside, either onto the floor, maybe a block, lizard. Guiding the hips forwards and back. Seeing how that feels in the hips. Now this might be a tiny movement, just see how your body is feeling. You're not trying to, replicate exactly what I look like. I'm here as a guide for you. Remember that. Maybe tuck the toes, a little hop. Lifting the knee off and down. And again. And then if you wanted to, we can lift the knee and do a little wiggle forwards and back. Maybe that feels a little too much. We can bring the back knee down and do a little wiggle again. Lovely. Drop the back knee, step back to tabletop position, move the block to the side if you are using one, and we're in tabletop position. So knees underneath the hips, make sure you've got enough space in between the knees, and hands shoulder width as a guide. Coming into cat-cow, child's pose flow. So start to lift the tailbone up, soften the belly down, and then heart space shines forwards, coming into your cow position, that gentle arch of the back. And begin to drop the tailbone down, push into the floor, round and dome into the back, into your cat stretch, and then reach the hips down towards the heels, about halfway. And then we'll come forwards, back to tabletop position. Allow the belly to soften down, lift the tailbone, heart space shines forwards, our cow position. And then rounding into the back, doming into the back, before lowering the hips down. And maybe you want to go a little further. Lovely, coming forwards. Soften the belly down, gently arching into the back. And then round, lowering the hips down towards the heels, child's pose. Or maybe we can add the breath, coming forwards. Allow the belly to soften down, gently arching into the back, shoulders sliding away from the ears, inviting a breath in here. Through the nose, exhaling round and down. Inhaling, coming forwards. Gently arching into the back, expanding into the rib cage. Exhaling round and down. Making into this bit of a flow. Forwards, breathe in. And then exhaling round and down. Let's do a couple more. One more time. And the next time we wiggle back towards the child's pose, we'll take some time here. So maybe a little wiggle of the knees, a little wider, and shimmying the hips down. Now, if you have a bolster or those couple of pillows, we can bring that in towards the body. And then lift up and allow the torso to rest on the body. Bringing an ear onto the side. So inviting our first moment of stillness.
feeling into the ground, feeling all the touch points. So maybe the forearms, the knees, the tops of the feet. Inviting this time for slowing down. If you had an ear onto the bolster or the pillows, we'll just swap sides so we stay even. Through the head, through the neck. Inviting one more moment here. And then begin to bring the head back into the middle. Bring the hands onto the floor and ease yourself up. Move your supports to the side. And we'll bring the legs around in front now. We're going to start to roll down onto your back. So bringing the feet about hip width distance, we can bring the arms in front and then roll down. Letting gravity guide you down. Okay, so once you're on your back, just take some time to settle. So we're starting to ease ourselves down to the ground. And we'll start to heel toe the feet a little wider. And bring the arms wide. So feet on the edges of the mat, not super close into the hips. Walk them a little away. Then we'll come into some windscreen wipers. So gently allow both legs to sway over to the right. Coming back through the middle and then over to the left. Lovely. Coming back to the middle and then over to the right. And then back to the middle and over to the left. Lovely. Coming back to the center. Maybe you'd like to play around moving with coordination with your breathing. If you'd like to try, take a breath in and out. And then as you breathe in, allow the legs to go over to the right, gently filling up the lungs through the nose. And then exhaling, coming back to the center, gently pressing the lower back down towards the ground. And then inhaling over to the other side. Exhaling, coming back to the center. And again, inhaling over to the right. And exhaling, coming back to the center. Inhaling over to the left. And exhaling, coming back to the center. Exploring that a couple more times, your own time, your own pace. And then slowly arriving back to the center. Remember, there's no rush. Walk the feet a little closer and then start to bring the knees into the chest, giving yourself a nice big hug. A little rock from side to side might feel good. And then bringing the feet down, we're going to set ourselves up for our resting position. So maybe if you have a bolster, you could slide it underneath and pop it underneath the knees, or maybe a couple of pillows supporting your head. Lifting the hips up and down. Maybe you'd like to pop a blanket on top, get really cozy. And then bringing the hands onto the body. So whether the hands rest onto the lower belly space, or maybe one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly space. Choose what feels most comfortable. And begin to soften or close the eyes. Softening into your jaw. And starting to breathe in and out through the nose. Becoming aware of the breath coming in through the nostrils. And out through the nostrils. Following the breath with your awareness. As if every exhalation was a little a sigh from within. Inviting your body to rest a little heavier onto the ground. Inviting your body to melt down onto the ground. And we'll follow the breath for another 10 breaths. We'll see if you can stay with me. Lovely, one more breath here. And then taking a slightly deeper breath in through the nose. A gentle sigh out through the mouth. And then start to wiggle into the fingers, into the toes. Inviting a nice big stretch along the floor. Or maybe you're not ready to move yet. Maybe you take an extra time. Remember, this is your practice, but if you are ready to move, then floating the arms down, start to bend into the knees and bring the knees into the chest, giving yourself a really big hug. Begin to roll over onto your side. Take a moment. And then using the top hand to press down into the ground. And slowly arrive back to a seated position. So that might be cross-legged, on the knees. And lifting up through the chest. We'll roll the shoulders back and down a few times. Next time the shoulders melt down, we'll wrap the arms around your body and give yourself a really big hug. Drop the chin slightly. Remembering this time for yourself is self-care. Intentionally nurturing your body, your mind, your energy. And really thanking yourself for that. Slowly releasing the hands all the way down. And then releasing the arms and check in with how you're feeling. So this practice was to help you switch off, feel a little calmer, but there's no expectation to feel a certain way. So how are you feeling? Have there been any shifts since when you first stepped on the mat today? And this might be a nice opportunity to grab a notebook, write down how you're feeling, or journaling. But whatever you do next, step off the mat with that sense of heightened awareness, trying not to rush into the next thing if you can. So thank you so much for joining today. Please let me know how you got on. I'd love to know how you got on with the practice by leaving a comment below this video. And if you like this practice, then click the like button and subscribe to this channel for more practices like this.